Sue Torr, and I'm the Managing Director of Crue Invest. We are a financial planning company based in Pinelands, Cape Town, and I've been asked by Simply to talk about money diaries. So the first question I've been asked is, do I have a budget? And if yes, when, and when did you start budgeting and why? So in answer to that question, yes, I do have a budget, and over the years I've actually become a little bit of a control freak with regards to the budget. I think having 3 kids, running a business, having lots of pets, having a few domestic workers, and the kids are now starting to go to university, there's just so much cash flow that I need to manage on a daily and a monthly basis that my husband and I have really sort of over the last few years taken firm control of our budget. The way that I do it, and it works differently for different people, but I run an Excel spreadsheet. There are amazing apps out there. The one app that comes highly recommended is, and I can't remember the name. It's an old mutual product. But I just simply run an Excel spreadsheet, and because I do most of the shopping for the house, when I come home from the shops, or actually what I do every morning when I get to my desk, I open my purse, I take out my slips, and I literally capture everything that we've spent money on. As the emails, the notifications come through from the bank for debit orders that have run or expenses that we've incurred, I take those as well and I capture them on the spreadsheet. And then at least once a year, I do that religiously for a month, and then I capture everything and I sort it out into categories. So groceries, pet food, house maintenance, school uniforms, tuition and allowances. So I break them into those different categories so that we have a very clear idea, at least once a year, of where our money's going. And surprisingly, it is actually a very, very empowering thing to do, that you really know where your money is going. And where you can cut back on expenses. So, for us, the one thing we all love doing is exercising and surfing and running and doing outdoor stuff. And for us, we actually realized our big expenditure was actually coming in sports equipment. So we were quite surprised at the amount that we had spent in one particular year on things like surfboards and wetsuits and all the accessories that go with doing sports. So that was an interesting eye-opener for us. So the second question I've been asked to discuss is, do I have a specific method of managing the budget? So as I said, yes, I just use a plain old Excel spreadsheet. There are seriously sophisticated apps out there which are fantastic. I just find it easier, and because I'm at my computer all day, I just find it easier to use Excel. And then, do I have a saving strategy, or does it include a fixed amount, or is it a percentage of the salary every month? So my husband and I do our own financial planning every year, and in that exercise we allocate a certain amount of our earnings towards our retirement annuities. And so it is a fixed amount every year, but it actually equates to a certain percentage of the income that we earn. So it's kind of yes to both of those. And then if you have a partner, a husband, yes I do. Do you have tips for how to discuss and negotiate money that you've learned work well? So I think we are in a very fortunate position because we both do financial planning together, and we have done for the last 15 years. So we tend to talk about it all the time, and it's what we do for a living. We help people manage their money for a living. But what I can say from experience, and having dealt with couples who have been managing their finances over a decade and a half, is that you have to communicate with your partner about money, and you have to share what you're spending your money on, and make sure there's transparency in the relationship. Otherwise, it just won't work. There's no right or wrong when it comes to, do you run joint check accounts? Do you share a credit card? Do you share your earnings? Who pays for what? That is something that each couple needs to determine together and set out at the beginning of the marriage. But throughout the marriage, you need a strategy to communicate your finances with each other. We just tend to talk about it all the time. We kind of have sort of an unstated limit. So if we're going to spend money over a certain limit, we will then discuss it with each other before we go and spend an excessive amount of money on a particular item. But, you know, if we're going to go clothes shopping or buy perfume or whatever, it's not something we would discuss. But obviously if, you know, my husband wanted to go and buy himself a new spear gun and it was going to cost 5,000 rand, we would have a discussion about it. So that's kind of where, but my advice is really just to talk about it every day. This is what we're going to spend money on. I really want to renovate the bedroom. You know, what do you want to do? What are your priorities? And really just talk about it. And then the last question is, do you have any life hacks for saving and investing that you'd like to share with other women? And the one thing that I can say to all women is that just take control of your money. Don't assume that your partner is doing it for you. Don't assume that your partner is investing for your joint retirement. Make sure that you know, regardless of how happy your marriage is and you believe that you're going to be together forever, which you might be, take control, know what's going on, manage your finances. Even if you don't like dealing with money, even if you think you don't understand finances, it's not that difficult. Be in control, because life happens and tragedies happen. And one day, I think the stats are that because women outlive men, that 20% of women end up on their own having to manage the money for the household for whatever reason, through death, divorce. So take control, be in charge and own it.